Welcome to Washington Hospital Today, the program dedicated to sharing timely information about the community hospital that's been taking care of Washington Township Healthcare District residents since it opened in 1958. Washington Hospital Today is provided for the sole purpose of informing residents about healthcare topics and issues that have been covered during community forums, free health and wellness classes, or as part of educational sessions held during the district's open board meetings. This program is one more way that Washington Hospital helps empower you, the residents of the district, by providing information needed to make informed decisions about your health.
Today's presenter is Maggie Villagomez. Maggie Villagomez received her undergraduate degree from San Jose State University. Her postgraduate internship was done through San Jose State and included training here at Washington Hospital. Maggie's professional career at Washington as a registered dietitian includes providing nutritional care for patients in the hospital. She also does specialty work with the infusion and pulmonary rehab programs. Maggie is a member of many professional organizations, including the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics and the American Society for Parenteral and Enteral Nutrition.
For those of you that don't know me, my name is Maggie, and I'm one of the dietitians here at the hospital, and I do a lot of these lunch and learn classes, usually during the holidays, so I'm very fortunate to get the good ones, the fun ones. Today we're going to talk about healthy holiday cookies. And usually that's an oxymoron because healthy and cookies doesn't usually go together. So today my goal is to try to teach you how to take some of your more traditional, cookies that you see during the holiday and maybe make them a little healthier, but still, have the taste and the textures that you expect from those cookies. So hopefully we can do that today. So first, I always like to start my talks with some fun facts on the topic that I'm covering. So today, like I said, it's holiday cookie facts. And so some of these I thought were interesting, I thought you would like to know. The earliest examples of Christmas cookies in the U.S. were brought by the Dutch in the early 17th century. So before that, we really just had kind of these pats of dough made with flour and water that we would put over fire. And they really didn't have much flavor. There wasn't any kind of sugar or fat or anything in them, so they were really flavorless. So once the Dutch came, they brought what we call cookies and what we know as cookies that were actually flavored with sugar and butter and all that. So thank you to the Dutch. Cookie cutters became available from Germany between 1871 and 1906, and they resembled Christmas images to hang on Christmas trees. So when we started getting imports from other countries, we got these cookie cutters, and that's what they would use them as. They would cut the cookies, and then they would hang them on the tree. So those were our first ornaments, and I'm sure most of you do know that, where cookies were actually our ornaments. In 1902, Nabisco got in on hanging their animal crackers on trees. And so if you think about those small animal crackers that Nabisco has, and they have the little string on the top, I always thought it was just to carry. It was actually back in the 1900s, in the early 1900s, Nabisco would put the string on the box so that you could hang your cookies on the trees. So very interesting that even now they keep that string on there. I think it's a nice, nice throwback to what they used to do back in the day. So yeah, I always thought it was just to carry the box. Children have been leaving cookies and milk out for Santa since the 1930s, and it's believed that they started this tradition during the Great Depression, when there wasn't a lot of money, wasn't a lot of food, and so spirits were down. So it was a way for kids to kind of get excited during Christmas time and hope for Santa to come. So nice tradition. So now I have some not so fun holiday cookie facts, and these usually have to do with, the health aspect of the cookies. So cookies are one of the biggest holiday weaknesses. They're fairly easy to make. Cookies are usually a one bowl type of food. It's not, really intensive like a pastry or a cake where maybe you have to do different steps, a lot of bowls. Cookies are usually one bowl, so they're really easy to make. So we're more likely to make them during the holiday than any other dessert. They're also easily available. So if we don't make them at home, you're finding them in the store. There's the sugar cookies, there's the gingerbread cookies, they're all over the place. So again, they're very easy to buy and they're fairly inexpensive. Their small size make it easy to eat many. So, if somebody was to serve you a slice of cake and you eat the slice of cake, most of us wouldn't go back for a second slice of cake because it looks bad. But, sometimes we don't think about putting more than one cookie in our mouth and it's not a big deal. They're small, so it's not that bad. So you just keep eating more. So those calories can add up. And then of course they can be made with many high calorie, high fat ingredients. So butter, eggs, whole fat products like milk, cream. So those calories can really add up, especially if we're eating more than one. And the results of that is that the average holiday gain for a normal sized person, meaning somebody who's around their ideal body weight, would be 1 pound. The average gain for an overweight or obese person is 5 pounds or more. And the problem with that is that we don't usually take that weight off later on in the year or in the early new year. We keep that weight on, and every year we just keep accruing the weight. So now, maybe we started off at a healthy weight, and the calories and the fat that you're eating during the holiday season is making you gain weight, and now you are packing on the pounds, and now you're falling into the overweight category. Now you're falling into the obese category. So, it doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but really over the years it can really add on and then increase your risk of many diseases. So number 1 rule, skip licking the spoon. When you are making your cookies and your batters, a tablespoonful at a time can easily pack on at least 100 calories. So if you're making multiple cookies like I did this weekend and you're tasting each batter, you can really be taking in a lot of calories. So you have to be very careful with that. So, I always tell people, save the calories and the fat for when you actually have the baked product. I think if you compared a batter versus a nice warm cookie, I think the cookie sounds a lot more appealing. So it's better to just skip the spoon and go for the baked product. So I have a list of some healthy baking substitutions for you. Some of these are pretty common and you probably know. So, replacing a lot of full fat products with lower fat or fat-free products. You can actually replace some of your butter or oil or shortening with apple butter, applesauce, or plain non-fat yogurt. It'll still give you that moisture that you're looking for. You can actually replace half of your whole wheat flour, replace half of your all-purpose flour with whole wheat flour. So you can do half whole wheat and half all-purpose flour. So you'll be getting in some whole grains, some fiber, certain vitamins and minerals, but you won't be changing the consistency of the product too much. That's the main thing with those whole wheat flours that people are afraid of, is that it's going to make the product really dense. So you can actually do half and half and still have a nice product. Instead of frosting, you can dust things with powdered sugar. I have a cookie here today that I dusted with powdered sugar. So obviously there's still calories in the sugar because it is sugar, but there's not that much fat in there. So, it's a nice option instead of the frosting. And then we have unsweetened baking chocolate. You can actually use unsweetened cocoa powder and a tablespoon of vegetable oil or margarine and make your own unsweetened baking chocolate without having to use those bars, which are usually using hydrogenated oils, and that's why they're nice and hard. We can use that liquid oil and not have to worry about that trans fat. So you want to enjoy your cookies wisely. So again, it's the holiday season. I would never want to take away your cookies and tell you you can't eat them. It's just that you have to be smart about eating them and about making them. Okay, so you want to bake your cookies as healthy as possible without sacrificing taste, of course. That's always my goal, is to try to provide you with, fun foods that still look like they should look and taste like they should taste, and you really enjoy them, especially during such a important season. You want to eat the best and save the rest. So only eat those cookies that you really love. And the ones that are seasonal. Don't eat, go to the table and eat chocolate chip cookies if you know you can have those year round. Go for the sugar cookies or go for the gingerbread men. The things that are really seasonal that really, will provide you that nostalgia of the holiday season. So you can save calories that way and eat the chocolate chip cookies any other time of year. You want to alternate cookie eating with healthier desserts like fresh fruit. So hopefully if you go to a party or you throw a party yourself, you'll have some, some desserts like cookies, but then you'll also maybe have some fresh fruit. So try to alternate so that you're not filling up just on cookies. You can, have some fruit in between there and fill up on that instead for a lot less calories. You want to remove yourself from temptation. So don't stand at the dessert table all night. Make sure you mingle. If you're right next to the table, you're more likely to keep reaching for the cookies and not realize how many you're eating. So at least this way you can walk around, and if you go back to the table, by that time you've really thought about, do I really want the cookie? Do I really need it? Am I really hungry? And so sometimes you may realize that you don't need to go to the dessert table after all. Out of sight, out of mind. You want to fit in physical activity into your days to burn off some of the extra calories. So if you know you're going to go to a party, try to get a walk-in, park further at the store, take the stairs, go to the gym if you have a gym membership, just so that you have some extra calories to enjoy later in the evening. Bank your calories and save them for your cookies. So if you know you're going to go to a party again and there's going to be some, kind of higher calorie fare there, then try to eat lighter in the day. So maybe have a lighter breakfast or have a lighter lunch and then save those calories for later. And then we dietitians like to follow the 80-20 rule. So the 80-20 rule is that we eat healthy 80% of the time, and then we still allow ourselves to enjoy things like cookies or candy 20% of the time. So if you follow that rule, you don't feel like you're depriving yourself of your favorite foods. It's just how much, and how often you're eating of them. So 80-20 rule is what we live by. So now just quickly, I'm going to go over the cookies that I have here for you today and let you know kind of why I picked them and what the benefits of those cookies are. So the first one is a chocolate pistachio cookie, and I picked it because you see a lot of nuts during the holiday season, but pistachios is not one that you see very often. So I thought it's a pretty nut, it's green, it looks nice, it's a nice display cookie. So pistachios are beneficial for heart health. They're high in fiber and they have many vitamins and minerals. So they're a really good nut to use in your baking. This particular recipe calls for egg substitute in place of eggs and margarine in place of butter. So kind of some of those healthier baking substitutions that were on that other slide. And then I also replaced some of the baking chocolate with unsweetened cocoa powder. And I didn't replace all of it. You can, but I didn't. I still wanted to keep the recipe as close to original as possible because I didn't think it was too bad in terms of the calories. And so these nutrition facts are based on 3.5 dozen. So 123 calories, some of you may look at the samples I have here and say, oh, well, that's 123 calories. That still seems like a lot for that cookie. But I can tell you I actually got probably 55 cookies out of that one batch. So the calories will probably be even lower if you're making about the size that I made. Okay. Almond cream cutouts. These are a variation of a sugar cookie, and I chose these because they're a good choice for diabetics. The only sugar that's in these cookies is in the almond paste itself, and the rest of the flavor comes from the almond and from the almond paste and the almond extract. So again, they're using low-fat cream cheese in place of regular cream cheese, cutting out some of that fat, egg substitute in place of eggs. That almond paste does contain some heart-healthy benefits of the nuts. It has a little bit of fiber, those healthy fats that you find in nuts, and then multiple vitamins and minerals. And then again, it's replacing some of the butter. So there is still butter in this recipe, but it's not that much. It's half a cup, and you're making at least 4 dozen cookies. So it's, you get a lot of cookie for that small amount of butter. And like I said, it's a good choice for diabetics. For one cookie, you're looking at about 66 calories and 7 grams of carbs. So that's less than 1 carb choice. So you can actually eat 2 cookies for 1 carb choice if you are carb counting. I have pecan pie bars as well, and I thought I couldn't, have a cookie class without having some kind of pecan item because it is so popular during the season. And again, this recipe is using minimal butter. We're doing egg substitute. The pecans are another heart-healthy nut. I really like using nuts during the season because I think they just blend so well with all of the other foods that you're eating. And then again, they are diabetic friendly. They're about 2 carb choices per bar. And the Noel nut balls are another cookie that I have, and that's the little powdered sugar cookie. So those have some honey and orange juice, which provide natural sweetness. So the honey I like because it replaces the sugar and it gives kind of an aromatic flavor component versus just regular sugar. And then the orange juice too provides kind of a different type of sweetness. I made mine with walnuts. You can do with pecans, but again, since I had the pecan pie bars, I didn't want to do 2 pecan cookies, so I changed mine to walnuts. And walnuts are high in omega-3 fatty acids, so it's a nice dose of healthy fats in there. And then again, I use powdered sugar, so trying to replace some of, frosting or chocolate with some powdered sugar for dusting. I think it looks really nice during the season because it looks like snow. Okay. And then I have some chocolate-covered pretzels, and I know these aren't cookies, but because cookies are such a big part of gift giving, we like to give cookies as gifts. I thought the chocolate-covered pretzels are something fun that you can make with your kids or your grandkids, and you can gift them like cookies. So the pretzels are naturally low-fat and low-calorie, so it's a nice base to start with. The recipe I use uses dark chocolate, which is good for heart health, and it's full of antioxidants. You can also use, white chocolate or some other flavor, peanut butter, but I like the dark chocolate because I think it still gives you some nutritional benefits. And then there's assorted toppings, so you can use different things to decorate the pretzels, and even though maybe some of them are higher calorie, like cookie bits, they don't provide that many excess calories and fat because you're not using that many. You're really just rolling the pretzels in them. Okay, so what we're actually going to be doing today is that we are going to be making some of these pretzels for you to take home and kind of share with your family and kind of give you an idea of whether you like to do it or not. So all I did, and I made these at home, very easy to do, is I just took a regular butter knife. If you have a spatula, like a special baker spatula, you can use that. And I just mix the chocolate really well. And you just are going to smear it on like this, almost as if you're buttering toast. And you want to do a thin layer. You don't want to do too thick of a layer, because what happens is then as you start rolling your toppings, rolling the chocolate in your toppings, the chocolate starts to drip off and gets all over the toppings. And then it takes longer to dry. So you want to really do a thin layer, and I promise you your toppings will still stick. And so for my toppings, you can do anything, whatever you like. I chose coconut, I did some chopped almonds, I did some candy canes, and then I have sprinkles. You can also do cookie bits if you'd like, or you can chop up some chocolate candies. The key is to chop everything really fine, because if it's too heavy, it won't stick and it's just gonna fall off, okay? We're gonna have wax paper over here to kind of let them set for a little while. And then you just let them set, and once they set, you're ready to go.